Hey guys, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be going over my January wrap-up. So this is probably going to be a very short video today because I only read 3 books in January. It was a very low reading month for me. Actually, I read all 3 of these, I want to say, within the first week and a half of January, and then basically didn't read anymore. So reading is one of those things that I absolutely love, but I do feel like I have to be in a certain mindset to start a book, and if I'm feeling gross or icky, I usually don't want to read, and so I ended up restarting Dragon Age Origins, and that has been taking over my free time, I guess I should say. So as of right now, I haven't been reading very much. I hope to fix that in the future. I'm about probably halfway through the game. I absolutely love it, and I haven't played it in years, it seems like. So I'm not too upset about the divergence in reading, and if you guys ever want to hear me talk about other things that I do that sometimes take over my reading time, I will be happy to tell you guys that. But for the month of January, like I said, I read 3 books. The first book I read in January was Idle Gossip by J.S. Lee. This is the 3rd book in a reverse harem K-pop type of trilogy. So this was the last book in this series, although I have heard that she is writing more books in this world. I don't know how that's going to work with the characters, like if they're going to be sort of companion novels or if it's going to be slightly different, but at least it's in the same world of these stories. But this is a book that I did give a 4 stars. I want to say probably a little bit closer to 4.5. This is a series that I've absolutely loved. I do really like the characterization of the characters and how the relationships develop very realistically. They're not too slow, they're not too fast. I do want to say in I believe the 1st and 2nd book, there was some, sexual situations that happened because it is a romance novel that happened just a little bit quickly for my liking, but this last book really pulled it all together. It made the whole dynamic seem really believable, and I'm actually sad that the 3rd book ended as the last one in that trilogy because I really would like to see more from these characters, and I don't know if that's necessarily what it's going to be in the subsequent books that she is going to be putting out. But I did really like her writing style. It was very believable, and it was also one of those things, it is based on a K-pop group, and our main character is somebody who is Korean, but she lived in America for a while, so she comes in as sort of a different dynamic to the K-pop manager position sort of thing. She works with the entertainment group that the K-pop group is under, but she also ends up being their manager in the group, and I did really like to see that. I was very happy that there were little hints of K-drama type style happening in the book, but it wasn't too cutesy or anything like that, because I do feel like K-dramas, which I do love, can sometimes be a little bit unrealistic. I did feel like this storyline was more realistic, and again, it was just really good. I read it as an ebook, but I would totally buy these books as print books if this author does come out with that. It is an independent author, so I do believe she only went the ebook route for now, but I would love to have them on my shelves. The 2nd book that I read in January is Pisces Hooks, Taurus by Anita Sunday. This is the 4th book in her Signs of Love series, which is an LGBTQ male-male romance type of series. This I gave a 5 stars. This is my absolute favorite book from this series. I have loved them so much, and again, this is another independently published author. She starts off as ebooks, but I believe she has them all as paperback books now. I actually have the first 2 books in this series in paperback, which are the Leo Loves Aries and Scorpio Hates Virgo, and I absolutely love these as well. These are really cute stories, and I do feel like she followed that up really nicely with this 4th book. Almost all of her books for this series are male-male romances, technically, but I do feel like they're usually LGBTQ related more because we almost always have a guy who is gay, but then there's almost always the love interest who is either like bisexual or demisexual or is still figuring out exactly what he wants, so that they're not fully labeled as just like gay romances, I guess I want to say. But she does a really good job at the slow burn aspect of it. I feel that these characters, especially in this newer book, really have a development of who the characters are, so you really get a you really feel hooked to them. You really want to know what's going to happen in their relationship or what's going to happen in their life. But also the relationship dynamic, especially when it usually ends up going from like strangers to friends to lovers, like it definitely has that progression, and I absolutely love that. You get all of the emotions before you get to any sort of sexy time, which is just my preference. Like I want to say in this new book, I want to say the last 10-15% is when we finally got to physical aspect of the relationship. Everything else was just that build up, which is exactly what I want. Also, our main character of Zane was just one of the best characters that she has written into the books so far. He is somebody that is on a visa here and is going to be shipped back out to his country in the next 30 days, and so he in his mind really wants to find a wife. He is at that point where he doesn't just want to do it for a green card or anything like that. He wants the, you know, the meet cute and falling in love and everything, and he just really expects that it's going to happen over those 30 days before he has to leave. And so he's just this very idealistic type of person, very optimistic, and I don't know, there was just something about him that was slightly different from all her other characters that I just really resonated with the most, and so I absolutely love this book. It is my absolute favorite of any of her books, but also of this series. And then the last book that I read in January was the Case Study of Vanitas Volume 1. This is by Jun Mochizuki. This is a manga, obviously, and the one thing that's a little bit rare for me is I actually own the first 4 volumes of this, and I only read the first one fully in the month of January. Not for like this being bad or any reason like that. I did actually give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. It was mostly just the fact that I got distracted and I wasn't in a full reading mood, so I started the video game. But this is a very good introduction to this series, and I am intrigued by it enough that I'm definitely going to reread this most likely before I continue on with the other books, probably later this year. But this is all about a world where vampires are real, and it's not like there's anything bad about them. They're not allowed to suck on humans' blood, that kind of thing. So like there are some more rules. They're just sort of another species along with humans. But there is also something going on where some vampires end up feral, and the Book of Vanitas, so the Case Study of Vanitas, the Book of Vanitas is a mysterious type of book where the vampires see it as something that makes them go crazy, but then the person that actually has the book right now sees it as a way of curing the craziness, I guess I want to say, that some of the vampires are going through. And so it's a very mysterious type of start to this. I absolutely love the art style though. It is very clean and dynamic, and it's just very intriguing to me. And again, we didn't get very many answers in this book because it is an introduction to a manga series, but the whole premise of the vampire world and the mysterious book and these characters is something that I'm very interested in reading again and continuing with eventually. So those were all the books that I read in January. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Leave me a message down below letting me know if there's any books that you guys like to read that would get you back into reading, I guess out of a reading slump, because I feel like that might be what I'm in right now. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I do have videos up every Monday and Thursday, so I will see you then. Bye!